Hey, I've got a few highlights, or should I say lowlights, from the flack President Trump got on Twitter after his presser on Saturday. And I also am going to touch on a couple other things, like a little bit of info about President Trump's grandfather, also some of the disruption that's going on in the 17th letter ranks. So stick with me, folks. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I've got lots of things here to pack into this video, but I want to start out with this. This is a little clarification from my last video. I was talking about Dr. Fauci and his expression when Trump was talking about the deep state. Well, this gives a little clearer view of you. You can actually see what he does. He gives this kind of smirk here when Trump says it. Okay, so he ends up, giving this kind of look. Now, I think some people misconstrued what I said in the last video. I do believe that he's deep state in that he is a career bureaucrat who believes that he knows how to run the country much better than President Trump. I really honestly think this man believes that. He thinks he's smarter. He thinks he has more of a knowledge of how things are supposed to work. And he looks down his nose at President Trump. I honestly think that's what we saw there. We saw a smirk. We saw him looking with kind of mockery at what Trump had said, and it's like, oh, you got to put up with this guy. I really think that's what we were seeing, and that is a pretty typical thing that we see, that derision from the deep state. So I wanted to make sure that's what you were understanding that I was saying about him. I think he is deep state. I don't think he was scared of anything when he said it. He's looking down his nose at Trump when he does it. I think that was pretty obvious. And that's one of the reasons why there's this big conflict here, because he does believe he knows better how to run the country on this particular topic than Trump does. And he doesn't respect how the people have voted for Trump and we have put him in office. So I wanted to share that with you. I'll leave the link to these down below as always, and you'll be able to get that. I wanted to show you this. This was one that President Trump responded to, and this was David J. Harris. And if you look at this, Trump, shut the border. Media, you're a racist. Trump, shut the border. Media, you didn't do it fast enough. Media, Chinese Wuhan illness. Trump, Chinese illness. Media, you're a racist. Media, we need a leader that gives us hope. Trump, have hope. Media, you're giving false hope. Yeah, this is how it's been. And there's another one here that I saw that says about the same things. And I think that this is very significant. A lot of what President Trump was doing in his first couple years was really setting us up and preparing us in a lot of ways for something like this, because he wanted to close the borders. Why? Because we needed to have a handle on who came in and out of our country. And you look at it now and you say, well, that was obviously a very good thing. And if we would have had that implemented a little sooner, maybe we could have prevented some of that spread a little bit. But now, we have it done because it was necessary to control the illness. We need to bring our businesses home. Why? Because we need them here instead of having to rely on other countries and businesses in other countries to provide us with what we need because of just such this occasion. If it's all here within the United States, then we don't have to worry about coming in from other countries, and it allows us to shut things down much easier and to keep us in more of a controlled situation. We need to become less dependent on other countries to survive. Yeah, see, that's what he has been working towards for a long time, because he knew that in a situation like this, if we needed it, we would be in big trouble because we needed so many things from outside of our country. And he worked to get everything brought back here. And obviously he didn't bring everything back. Not all the different businesses have come home, but there are an awful lot who did. And especially when we're talking about the fuel industry. We now have our own energy here. We don't have to rely on those outside of our country. We need to take care of America first. Now I know all the reasons why he said those things. A great man. And I agree. I like this picture too. It's a very nice picture. He was preparing things even back then. We just didn't know it. He had the ability to look at our country and say, the way we have it set up now is very insecure, and we need to secure it by doing these things. So he's definitely a visionary. He's somebody who can see the big picture. He did a great job on that. And if you think of it, we would have been in much, much more dire circumstances if he had not taken some of the steps before to build up some of our infrastructure first. And then he put out this tweet, okay, about the two medicines. And he said, taken together, have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. The FDA has moved mountains. Thank you. Hopefully they will both. H works better with A, International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents. And then he went on and said, be put in use immediately. People are dying. Move fast. And God bless everyone. Okay, so that's what he tweeted out. And so, of course, he had to get flack on that. And Ted Lieu was one of them here. And he says, for anyone who read the tweet from President Trump saying these two medicines can be a game changer for the illness, if approved by FDA, please don't take them together without consulting a doctor. The drug combination is not currently approved and can kill you. Okay, now wait here. Think about this. You have to have a prescription to get either one of these. All right? I had a sinus infection, and I had to go to the doctor just a few days ago, and I had to get a Z-Pak. Okay? I had to have a prescription for the Z-Pak. All right? You can't get it without a prescription. You're not going to be able to get these unless you go see a doctor. So what in the world? What is he suggesting here? That people are getting them off the black market or what? I don't understand. And, trying to say, well, the combination can kill you. Well, these are doctors that are going to be prescribing it, and I think they know their patients, and if it's somebody that it's going to cause problems for, then they're not going to prescribe it for that person. Oh, just, this is fear-mongering. That's all that is. Just trying to paint Trump any way negative that they can. And here's a doctor, and he's saying, well, the same thing, basically. Yes, okay, so there are some possible interactions here, and you shouldn't take it unless your doctor prescribes it. Well, duh, you can't get them unless your doctor prescribes it. So anyway, I just wanted to post that. It's just amazing what they're saying out there. And then I wanted to post this. Check it out. Thank you, Mr. President. Your steady, necessary, and tough leadership has been a comfort in these difficult times. Look who he's talking to. He's not referring to President Trump. He's talking about Cuomo, Governor Cuomo. Yeah, that's who he's talking about. I looked at that, and first I saw Mr. President, and then I looked, no, wait, he's not replying to President Trump. Yeah. And here's one. Love you referring to Governor Cuomo as Mr. President. We support that message. Oh, that's sad. Sad, sad, sad. Oh, please don't ever let that happen. But what do you expect from a Rothschild? Okay, and so, of course, David Rothschild isn't satisfied with just referring to that one. He's got to come here and be a little troll in Trump's feed. President spreading super dangerous misinformation that will make crisis worse. Okay, how is this spreading super dangerous misinformation? It's not misinformation, because there actually was a study done in France that this is all based on. Yeah, they really did do a study. Granted, the people that they used it on was a very small pool of people, so it was probably a questionable as to how valid it was. I agree with that. But the only way to find out is by using them on other people. And we already know, these two medicines have been out there for a long time. So their side effects are very well known. They've been studied quite extensively. And so combining them would be the only issue, is how they combine together. And so I've read some of the stuff. it seems to indicate that they kind of tag team each other and they hit different aspects of the illness. That way they take it out, or at least they mitigate the effects of it, which would be very good. I mean, if you can get a milder case instead of a very hard case of it, that's very good too. So, yeah, this is what's going on, and they just totally are ignoring that French study. It goes on. What president claimed is untested, not approved, and possibly dangerous. Please do not listen to this madman. Listen to trained medical professionals. He will get people killed. The doctors are the ones who gave him this information. And the doctors are the ones who have to prescribe the medicine. So if the doctors are thinking it's not going to work, then they're not going to give it to the people. And when he's talking about that it's possibly dangerous, it's untested, it's not approved. Well, it's not approved for that specific use. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for this use. I mean, it's kind of like a lot of these medicines that are approved at first for one illness, and then later on, after their patent has run its 7 years and they start to run out, then they go, let's get it approved for something else. Well, it could have worked for that all these years. I'm thinking of a lot of the antidepressants. They go for 7 years as an antidepressant, and then all of a sudden they get them, approved for using for anxiety. Okay, well, they could have been used for 7 years before that for anxiety. So this is a lot of red tape, and these people are upset that Trump is cutting through all this red tape. And it's driving the bureaucrats crazy because you can't disturb our protocol. Our protocol is there for a reason. Well, yeah, it is, but it's like the right to try. The whole reason that sat there and couldn't be used for years and years was because they had to follow the protocols. Well, if my life is in danger and it's very possible that I'm dying of this illness, give me the trial. I will willingly take the trial and be the guinea pig. If you think it's going to help, if I have any chance, I'm going to take the chance. And I think many people will. And, neither of these are really questionable medicines. They're not something that have been, had a lot of lawsuits against them or anything like that because of their ineffectiveness or dangerous side effects or anything. So why are they upset about these two particular ones? And like I said, I just had a Z-Pack, so I'm doing fine. The sinus infection is gone, and I'm much happier, and I have a lot more energy now, so woohoo. Anyway, and speaking of other people, yep, here we go. Now they're complaining that Trump is spending too much time being on the TV every day. They don't like that because it's like a Trump rally every day. Right, like a Trump rally. Obviously, they've never been to one because no, it's not, and it's giving information. This is what I don't understand. They complain that they want information and people need to know. And then when they start doing this and they do a presser every day, which they always have new stuff to add. And, they have all these different things that are happening because things are changing every single day. There's new information out there. And, today's information was there was a staffer in Vice President Pence's office that was tested positive, so they both got tested, he and his wife, and they came back negative. So they're still healthy. That's good. Keep praying for them. And so, these briefings, I think they're very informational. I think they're good to have. You're getting the scoop straight from the president and his team. It's not just him. It's all of these scientists and these people that are implementing the plan that he has in there in the presser. Those are exactly the people we need to hear from. And why are they complaining about it? If he wasn't doing that, then they'd be complaining the other direction. Nobody knows anything and you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. The reason they don't like it is because it makes the American people go, yeah, this president actually knows what he's doing. And he's working on making this situation work better. Anyway, Quid Pro Joe here, he thinks he can do better. And so what he's going to do is he's going to start having these shadow briefings where he gives his opinion of what should be happening. You know, there's a whole big difference between what you think should be happening when you're not the person who's really responsible for calling all the shots. And especially he's not in on these briefings. You know, he may be able to watch what's going on TV, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when President Trump is meeting with his team. They're not talking about the same kind of stuff. I mean, they're talking about similar, but they're also going a little deeper, and there's a lot more information contained in that. And for Joe Biden to think that he knows the same thing and that he is aware of all the details that are going on is ludicrous. He has no clue. He's speaking out of his ignorance, which is not new. But anyway. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Yeah, you can read the article. I'll leave the link down below if you want to read it. But that pretty much sums it up. This is a speculation, a hypothesis, if you will. One of the researchers said, did a relative of Bill Gates start the 1918 flu pandemic by way of an experimental meningitis vaccine used on military recruits in Kansas? And this is talking about just anti-meningitis vaccination and so forth. And this was from 1918. This was what they were working on. So is that a possibility? And the researcher says, not saying this is the case, but there is some circumstantial evidence. A Rockefeller-trained doctor by the name of Frederick Gates was testing a meningitis vaccine at the same location and time as the apparent start of Spanish flu. Very interesting. And then down here, they talk about President Trump's grandfather, Frederick. And I know it doesn't bump up very much, but this is from Wikipedia. From Wikipedia. And look at his cause of death. 1918 influenza pandemic. I wonder then if that's one reason why President Trump is taking this so seriously, and maybe this is kind of his chance to make things right because of his grandfather. So I wanted to point that out to you. Again, not saying that that's the case, like this researcher said, but it's a hypothesis. It's something that if you're into digging, you could dig a little more on it and see if this Frederick Gates was related to Bill Gates. It's kind of interesting. They had the same last name. So I'll leave the link to that down below and you can check it out. Then I wanted to give you the link for this. If you happen to have a small business, and I know there are lots of people out there who do, this is your chance to get some loan assistance because we want to see all of these small businesses succeed. And especially now, this has got to be a very difficult time. There's not a lot of extra money in the budget to be able to continue paying employees. Well, here's a way that they can get some kind of disaster loan assistance. So I'm going to leave that link down below. If you happen to be a small business owner or you know people who are, please pass this information on to them. This is a government page. It's the SBA.gov. So it will be down below. Please pass that on. Now, the last thing I want to address is something that's going on in the 17th letter of the alphabet community. And if you don't know much about that, this could be confusing, but I hope it won't be too bad. Many of you know that Citizens Investigative Report is one of the people I usually follow, but unfortunately, the deal with being a YouTuber is that you're spending a lot of time doing your own research. You don't have as much time to watch people's videos as you used to have before you started putting your own videos together. So I don't get to watch as many videos as I'd like to. I don't get to follow people as faithfully as I used to. But this is one that every once in a while I try to dip in and I see what's going on with her. And we tend to get along well together. So I found this on Twitter today and I'm like, what is going on with Katie G? Something's up. So I want to convey the thought that we need to be very careful. There are a couple of things in the 17th letter of the alphabet community that cause division. The thing is, this entire movement is about thinking for yourself, about doing your own research, about drawing your own conclusions, and not being pulled into a whole community thought process and following people blindly. I hope nobody is following me blindly. I hope nobody's following any of these people that deal with this movement just blindly without questioning what they say, because we all make mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes. So sometimes we're going to be off on something. And because of the very nature of the information that we receive, it means that there are possible other interpretations of data. And that's kind of a necessity to make sure that everything the 17th letter of the alphabet is saying is legal. Okay, he has to do that for legal purposes. But that also gives rise to various interpretations that may or may not be solid. So we have to be very careful about our own beliefs in who we follow and, the information that we're watching. So there is a new person, a fairly new person on the scene. Seems to be fairly new and causing some division. And this happened back, there was another one when Corsi, the whole Corsi thing, that was part of it too. You get people that follow him and say, yeah, he's great, he knows a lot. And some people that say, oh no, he doesn't know anything. So here's just my comment on it. When we're thinking for ourselves, there are just bound to be differences. That's how it works. If not, we're merely sheep. True tolerance, in case we've forgotten the actual meaning of the word, is when you disagree, but you allow the other person to have their beliefs. No need for any of our tubers or tweeters to fuss with each other. There are a lot of variations in beliefs. And while you and I might disagree on whether someone is valid or not, whether a certain belief is valid or not, I still respect that you have the right to have that belief. I'm not going to degrade you. I'm not going to call you names, but I can disagree with you and it's friendly, everything. I'm not going to take a stance necessarily on Austin. I just am not at this point, but I do think that you need to read this thread if you're going to make a decision or you're looking into him on your own. You really need to read this whole thread. And I think you also need to be aware of this, that General Flynn does not follow this person. I believe that he did at one point. Someone pointed it out to his relatives and he stopped following that person. He unfollowed them. Also, Austin does not follow General Flynn. So I think that is highly suspicious. So I'm putting it out there. I'm not going to take a stance on this, folks. I don't want to get into a big argument because people have feelings one way or the other. It's like the JFK Jr. thing, guys. I have my belief on it. You probably have yours. If it doesn't match, I'm not going to call you names for believing differently than me. It's okay. It's all going to come out in the wash. We're going to find out one way or the other. It'll be obvious. So anyway, I just wanted to point these things out to you. And again, if you don't know anything about the 17th letter of the alphabet, you're not going to care anything about this last part of the video at all. So for the rest of you, if you want to talk about something in the comments, and I highly encourage it, I'd really like to know how this social distancing has affected you. I mean, are you doing okay? Are you making ends meet? Are you finding a way to have your supplies, food and everything that you need? Because I know we're going to be getting some money from the government, but who knows how long that's going to be. I mean, it would be nice if it happened like tomorrow and we received the check, but that's not going to happen. So let's be realistic about it. Are you doing okay? If you're older, are you getting your meals? Are you, I worry about such people because my parents are older and I worry about them, making sure that they have something to eat and that they're okay, because my brothers that normally watch over them are both sick with, just a regular cold type thing. But we don't want to get them sick. So I was staying away because of my sinus infection, but now I feel a lot better, so I'm going to be able to go visit them and make sure they're okay. But we need to make sure that other people around us are doing all right. And I want to encourage you one last thing. When we do get this money from the government, if you happen to have a little extra that you don't need, maybe look around your community and find somebody who might have a lot of kids or might have just some hardships that they need to have some extra money. And if you can give it to them, I don't know what the stipulations are going to be on it, if there will be any. Can you maybe decide to just give them some money? And, that's what I plan on doing. If I have more than enough to sustain me, then I plan on finding people that I can give it to, or maybe giving it to the food pantry in town or something, so that other people who might be having a true hardship will have enough money that they'll be able to take care of themselves and be able to get through this time. I don't think it's going to last a lot longer. I'm really hoping that the people I've heard that said April 10th are right, because then that would make a very special April 11th birthday for me, and it would be wonderful. So I would like to see that be past everything, but I just wanted to let you know that. Think about the other people around you. It's sometimes very easy for us to get caught up in our own worlds, and we forget the struggles other people are going through. So if you know of anyone who's having a tough time, find some way to help them, okay? I just felt like I needed to say that to everybody. So we just need to remember this is a time to come together. We can do this because we all need each other. Where we go one, we go all. Let's not have the infighting. Let's have a peace and be able to help each other. And I'm not against people discussing the differences if you're on one side or the other of an issue, but let's try to do it peaceably without name calling and just be nice about it, okay? So that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.